tradition to start 5 minutes later, or when the 42nd person joins. So welcome everybody to our 8th community call. Really excited to be having you here. Hope you all had a refreshing weekend. We certainly here at Over BabelFish don't stop during the weekend. It's really exciting to be working on such a cool project, to be honest. To be in the middle of stablecoins and Bitcoin and multi-chain. Super exciting. There's always something new and always something to stay on top of. So really great times. Cool. So as shared in the previous community call, XUSD is now live. It's been live now for 3 weeks, and it's pretty exciting. We've been having hundreds of thousands being deposited every day. Right now, it's standing at about 6.6 million in deposits right now, which is great. We're basically testing on mainnet, but at the same time, Sovereign really trusts this initial product that we have, which is, as it stands, a stablecoin aggregator to simplify and bridge the stablecoin flow from Ethereum and Binance over to Rootstock. So yeah, 6.6 million in 21 days. We're pretty happy about that. We're sure that after we have the token sale and we implement the governance and we start liquidity mining with certain liquidity mining incentives, that number will start growing much faster than it has, as people will want to deposit their stable coins, not only to use them in Sovereign, as well as in other Rootstock protocols like Tropicus Finance or other protocols that may be built on Rootstock, but also to just get some fish rewards and liquidity mining rewards. So pretty exciting to be starting on such a strong support from Sovereign and the community, and really excited for what's ahead once we have the token sale and governance, which I think it was also mentioned in the previous call. It is still being built. Front end side of the governance, it's something that is expected or slated to be complete sometime next week. So it's going to be ready way ahead of the token sale. And then as soon as we have the token sale, we should be ready to start governance basically the same day, because there's going to be a lot of proposals that we want to initiate, specifically with liquidity mining, as well as the parameters that we need on the stablecoin deposits. When is the token sale? That date is still TBD. We're still having initial conversations with people for the risk board. This was the reasoning behind delaying the token sale. There were 2 reasons. The main reason was the risk board, and the second reason was the market conditions at the time. So as aforementioned, Sovereign has really embraced the use of XUSD, and so has the Rootstock ecosystem. Right now, the team is in conversations with different Rootstock wallets and projects, and they want to integrate XUSD, given its high liquidity already. Even in this very early phase, it already has a lot of liquidity when compared to the larger Rootstock ecosystem. So it is really important that to maintain the trust and to grow sustainably, we don't just rush a token sale for the sake of it. We want it to actually work and be sustainable for the governance. And so the original plan was to roll it out, the token sale, almost at the same time as we had the product ready, and then immediately, start having votes on governance across all of the parameters and liquidity mining rewards. We really wanted to eat our own cat food that way, or walk the talk of decentralization. But it was pointed out by members of BabelFish's community, as well as Sovereign's community, that if it's going to be the main stablecoin in Sovereign and on Rootstock, which are communities that really believe about, sustainability and, security, that it really made no sense that we would roll out a governance that is completely pseudonymous and doesn't really have much information, or at least boundaries on what would be sort of like allowed to be voted on, and that information needed to be shared or explained in a better fashion. And so that's what the team is working on now. We're taking our time to do a slow rollout of that. And we believe that that has been the best decision. It gives us the proper buffer to think this thing through without, rushing to have a token sale just because we had given a timeline. And also the market conditions, they've continued to stay relatively weak. And so we hope that they will improve. Regardless, we continue to see the high level of support by our community, if not higher, after we made that decision. People understand that we are here to build a sustainable stablecoin aggregator and DAO that will help not only Sovereign and Rootstock, but this multi-chain ecosystem that it's being built around. We see that this is the right decision, and we really wanted to clear that out, by delaying the sale and now clarifying it in this call. So we feel quite satisfied with that. And again, the token sale date will be announced shortly. It's still TBD, and once it is announced, it will come with additional information about the risk board as well. Again, initial conversations are being had, and we hope that you're going to enjoy the people that, or really support the people that we're putting behind that to add another layer of trust to this project. Yes, I guess the next thing that needs to be shared, since the token sale is still TBD, is that we are going to be having our next bounty. So the first token bounty that we had was 420,000 fish tokens, and that's finally come to its end. We've consumed all of the 420,000 tokens, which will be distributed once we have a token generation event. And so we really want for you listening and for everybody else in the community to participate and be rewarded until we have the token sale. And there is no better time to be rewarded and to participate than before the token generation event. So it's likely that after this second token sale, after this second bounty drop, future bounty drops will be much smaller, just because they will come after the token sale. So the second bounty drop, we've decided to also make it 420,000, and it will be announced next week with all of the details on how to participate. So we've learned a lot from the previous bounty, and it's actually an experience. The cool thing about building decentralized products, it's everything that you learn about building decentralized distributed communities. So as it was mentioned on the previous call, right now we have sort of 6 schools of fish, which are basically 6 project departments. And so what we want to do for this upcoming bounty drop, we want sort of like the head of each department or school of fish to come up with like specific requests and needs. And the idea is that this bounty will serve in a way to onboard participants for the project. And so sometime next week we will be sharing a blog post where we will be detailing sort of like how these schools of fish are divided and how you can participate. And we will also have a new form to onboard you. That's not just the experimenter, but something that it's going to be much easier to handle and manage. We've had a lot of people filling in the form or request or reaching out to us directly, and it's been very hard to scale it and to manage it. So we've learned from that. And so we're taking this time to really build the team in a clean way that can be scaled, and that it's truly decentralized and transparent moving forward, so that once governance is live, people could even vote in giving smaller or bigger rewards, or even outright stop certain people from being rewarded. So that's what we're preparing for. And so we're really excited to provide some additional clarity to the community on how to participate. Yeah, so I think those are my 10 minutes, and with that, I will give now the floor to Flametail, who is actually doing a great job of managing the community, and he will just share a few words on the topic of community and translations across different languages. So, take it away. Awesome. Thank you, Flametail. And again, we will be sharing a blog post early next week, where there will be even more transparency on how we're trying to create some order in this distributed community, so that it's completely clear in just one blog post and one source of reference for all of us moving forward to participate. Awesome. So I think, yes, now it's time. If anybody has some questions, please just raise your hand, and then we will give you the floor. Any questions you may have.
Did we speak a little bit about the bounty program already and extending that and all the details there?
We did, but we are still working on additional details, which we will be sharing next week in our blog posts for any additional details. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Hello?
Thank you. Hi, Weber.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
Good. Starting a week, although the weeks never really seem to end in DeFi.
For sure, for sure. I just want to mention that I was part of the community that felt a little bit worried about the speed at which BabelFish was moving without necessarily having a proper risk management. And I just wanted to say that, like, I fully respect and honor the fact that you guys are taking, one step. You're not going as fast just so that you guys could figure that sort of thing out. I was wondering if there was any clarity around that risk management team. I know that it's sort of going to be up to governance, but I'm just curious, Dark Knight or Novax, how do you guys sort of see not only the governance role playing out, but just what do you guys envision with regards to, like, the risk management? Yeah, that was my question.
So yeah, so Weeper, definitely we're all reading the comments, right? Both on the BabelFish chat and on the Sovereign chat. And so thank you for that feedback. And we also don't take lightly the support that Sovereign's community has shown to this project, right? So based on that feedback, we've been having conversations with members of the Sovereign team, as well as the early supporters of BabelFish. And they are suggesting is, yes, we can have a completely DAO driven project, but there needs to be certain alignments, not only from the tokenomics but also even like fail safes, so to prevent, to make sure that this really is sustainable. So how do we envision it? From the initial conversations that we've been having, what we're envisioning, it's sort of like a cool group, sort of like intellectual rigor, to put it that way. So sort of like selecting five people, at least three to five people that have background that will sort of like calm the fears of the users of XUSD, and also provide some guidance on how to protect BabelFish, right? So we just don't want to immediately roll it out. We want to make sure that, okay, what are the parameters that that need to remain as they are? So how do we envision it? These are all things that are not so clear yet, and they will become more clear, in the coming 2 weeks or so. We're just having initial conversations with members from Sovereign's community and early supporters, as well as academics and people that come from finance. And luckily, there's a lot of experience out there that we can take from. Make sure that whatever is going to be voted in the DAO, they will not be things that could terminally affect XUSD, right? So we just want to make sure that have enough stablecoin experimentation, R&D happening in the DAO, but making sure that it's within certain parameters as well. So yeah, that's basically taking from the feedback that we receive from people yourself. So I hope all of that will become more clear in the coming weeks, and that we can share more about it, ideally for the next community call.
And how do those people get selected to sort of be on that board of making those decisions? Will that once happen once the fish tokens are out and you can do like proper governance in terms of voting?
Well, that was not the way that I understood it. I don't think we're not going to be having a token sale. Basically, I think no, we're not going to be having a token sale until we have this board first. So I think at first it's just going to be decided internally, sort of like by early supporters of BabelFish, and then once we have the token sale and we have a live governance, then these roles that will be at pseudonymous, and they can be voted out and replaced by other options. That's how I envision that happening.
Okay, cool. Awesome. I probably do have more questions, but I don't want to steal the floor. So if anyone else wants to go ahead.
I appreciate the questions. It's really important to have these conversations here in this forum. So thanks for bringing the question.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sure I can keep going. So if no one else raises their hand, if you guys are cool, I'll continue the conversation.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I'm thinking I have a background in insurance in California. I was California life and disability licensed as part of being an annuities and mutual fund limited securities agent here. And so even with my understanding of my understanding of the California insurance regs for collateral and things like that, some of the stuff that we're doing really requires a lot more actuarial kind of in-depth risk management. So it seemed like intuitively like a really good idea to me to kind of put a pause and install some people with some really some expertise in some of these fields that might be able to ensure that we're not feeding our BabelFish toxic collateral.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like coming from the sovereign side of things, like, or anyone on Rootstock. I mean, look, ultimately everyone's here because they believe this is a good idea. And I think so too. It's just about, I think that there was a little bit of fear that the idea of what to do with when you had the stable coins and this idea of not enough clarity around the risk management, that seemed kind of scary. And that's why I really like the fact that you guys have just taken a step back. I think it's showing to the community that you guys are very serious about risk management and that you want to get a good plan. And I think that that's sort of what people wanted to hear. And myself included, I'm really excited to see what sort of guidelines come up within the risk management board that will be selected. And yeah, I mean, look, we all want to see growth across Rootstock in general.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of those projects that can help to push some of that growth. So yeah, definitely a big proponent of risk management. We've all seen too many rug pulls and too many projects go bust, or stable coins lose their peg, and you don't need that sort of thing to ruin a great idea that could really push forward a tremendous amount of growth in this ecosystem.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A mentor of mine about a decade ago used the expression, "It's not a zero-sum game," all the time. And at the time, I feel like it didn't really mean much to me. But increasingly, as you see the kind of stakes involved in the high level projects that are being undertaken on Rootstock, yeah, it's not a zero-sum game. It's critical that that we're moving ahead with proper protocol and protection. So yeah, definitely see the critical nature and all that.
You guys ever? Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, and guys, please excuse my questions if they sound repetitive, because I am super new here. I think this is my first BabelFish community call, but I was just wondering if you guys ever crunched any preliminary numbers on, what sort of revenue there's expected to be seen for fish token holders based on, very conservative lending of these stable coins in some of the more battle tested lending projects that are available. Have you guys ever run anything? And if you have, like, what sort of projections have you sort of come up with?
Yeah, so I believe these numbers have been crunched by some of the members of the dev team. I don't know if any of them are to lend on Compound and Aave just after making sort of like the risk-reward ratio there. I don't know if any of the dev team members are here. But yeah, I believe some of that work was done for the original alpha proposal, at least.
Is that like info public or?
No. So that's the sort of thing that we need to start giving more transparency. So we're just beginning to do efforts of transparency to onboard community members from this blog post that I mentioned, just to onboard more people. And that also has to do with additional transparency that we can provide the tokenomics, just to provide, sort of like more tranquility, just sort of like the more we want to write about our protocol, then the longer everything will be delayed. And a lot of people in the community also, that are participating, expecting to be receiving some sort of fish reward, then that all gets delayed, right? Because then it takes time about creating the whole white paper, and then all of the sources. And so, yes, perhaps that is the way that it's going to be end up going, right? Like, it depends on how much do we want to share at first, just to make sure that everybody understands how it works. Just taking into account that most of the things that we will be sharing are likely to be dynamic and to change, but we can definitely start sharing some research that has been done for the initial decisions. That is something that I can see that happening for sure.
So you guys mentioned in about, I guess, 2 weeks, there should be some more clarity around this group of people who will sort of have more concrete answers around some of these unknowns.
That is what is, sort of like, I hope that, by the next community call, we will be able to have at least, a semblance of the first board members. And when it comes to actually writing a, like a white paper, I'm not sure we're going to be writing a white paper, but we can definitely ask our dev teams, or the people that were initially doing crunching some numbers on potential returns from lending collateral. If some of that can be completely written and shared within 2 weeks, I cannot speak on behalf of that. But I would like for us to have a board, or at least the beginning of the board, within 2 weeks, but it can take longer. So don't quote me on that here. We're just having initial calls with different members that we would like to have, but I cannot confirm for them.
Yeah, same kind of a thing, right? With the token sale date. It's just sort of, okay, we're making the decision to proceed forward with the criteria being that the conditions are filled. And so I think putting a pause on the urgency is important, but then also, expressing that in terms of not being just a completely open-ended thing. But yeah, I think we're kind of all talking about weeks, not months, and we're talking about, in the meantime, just proceeding forward with all of the internal branding and the the loot drop, the bounty rewards program, and continuing to build and build out everything that we're doing. So in one way, it kind of really provides a cool opportunity for our early community members to continue to participate in all this stuff before Fish has a USD price set that on the open market that converts to USD, so that those rewards exist in this unpegged world where they can be a little greater in the end. So I think that's kind of good for everyone internally, and should really motivate everyone to just kind of chug along and continue with the art development and memes and all the stuff that we're doing. And also, don't forget about our podcast. If anyone on the call wants to come and jump in and join Flametail and I, and this is going to be a community thing, so eventually would love for you all to step into the host chair as well if you have good guests that you want to bring on and all that kind of stuff. So lots of stuff going on, and so appreciate you all.
I have another question, if that's okay, if no one else has raised their hand. I'm just wondering, at the beginning, Dark Knight, you mentioned that there were some other projects that are interested in working with BabelFish's XUSD product, like Tropicus. Are there any other projects on the horizon? And then my second question is, do you guys intend to have your own bridges that will bridge from other chains directly through BabelFish, or are you sort of going to be leaning heavily on Sovereign's bridges to be moving liquidity on and off ramps?
Great questions. So yeah, I would just say that we have the support of IOV Labs and Rootstock. They see the value of a product like BabelFish to aggregate and bridge over stablecoins, especially once liquidity mining rewards are sort of rolled out. When it comes to bridges, so what BabelFish's strategy is to leverage the bridges being built across different chains, right? So the first priority right now is to bring liquidity over to Rootstock. That's priority number one. And so, but come Q4, for example, and we're ready, say that BabelFish already has, a sufficiently large amount of collateral to be worth the time for example, being listed XUSD itself on, let's say, on Compound, or in a similar lending protocol in Avalanche. In that situation now, what we would do is we would look at which bridges have been built, for example, or which teams built, let's say, an Ethereum to Avalanche bridge, and then we would work with those teams. So basically, what's really cool about BabelFish, it's, again, you're in the center of stablecoin research and development. We really want to see which stablecoin projects are worthwhile out there. We want to always, be leveraging Bitcoin layer 2 for the insurance. And and we want to be also looking into this multi-chain world. So we will basically be looking into which and voting on which chains would be worthwhile to go, and then we would need to see, okay, which solutions are available to bridge assets, and then we're also in conversations with, like even for atomic swaps, because then you need to start looking into how to balance the different aggregators across chains. So there's going to be a lot of things that will need to be built, and then sort of like sovereign is like our first proof of concept, right? So yeah, we were just ready to roll in as fast as possible, and things happen along the way. They slow us down, but they're for the best. But yes, so to answer your question, we will be looking at different solutions and partnering with those, right? That's the beauty of DeFi, the beauty of BabelFish as DAO.
Right. So, but you don't plan on having your own bridge solution to bring liquidity onto Rootstock, or you do?
So we're going to be looking to partner with different bridge providers, right? What BabelFish does is to aggregate stablecoin liquidity, aggregate and distribute stablecoin, lend it out, and get a sort of like a Bitcoin layer 2 insurance. For bridges or for swaps, all of that, we would need to partner with different solutions, such as Sovereign's first proof of concept, which also has bridges for Rootstock.
Is that an issue to rely on other projects' bridges as opposed to having your own solution that you could sort of control in-house, whether there's updates that are required or just wondering, it seems like there's a lot of dependencies on other projects.
Yeah, well, that speaks about the nature of DeFi and DeFi composability, right? I mean, so Sovereign, it's like the main, and this is a debate that we can have, but what makes DeFi what they call money Legos, right? So it's just about the composability and how between all of the different projects, right? So you cannot have one project trying to do everything. The idea is that you can rely on all of this innovation going on, specializing on specific things, right? So BabelFish's specialization, it's to aggregate, distribute, and hedge the stablecoin risk while also getting some sort of Bitcoin insurance. And we think that's very unique, pretty edgy, and we're really excited to see what will be voted in the DAO. And that's sort of like what we want to bring to the whole multi-chain ecosystem, starting with Rootstock as priority.
I think you make a good point. That's true. There's definitely a lot of DeFi Legos and different interoperability between different chains and projects. I guess the reason why I brought it up is because obviously there's fees to be collected on the sort of toll fees on those bridges, and that could sort of act as another way to bring more revenue to Fish token holders if you did have your own solution, while not necessarily having to rely on others. But I definitely agree with you with regards to the DeFi Lego concept.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of innovation, and that's why also like having a PG is important. And many of these things we do not know the answers from the beginning, right? So you come up with something, but DeFi changes so fast that whatever you thought was going to be changes after 2 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of innovation happening. That's what we're most excited about, and that's why we need a token as well, right? It's not just to it's to finance operations, but also to create some sort of like really interesting partnerships and try to reduce fees as well.
Cool, guys. Thanks for answering all my questions.
Thank you, Whipper.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine as we're launched, as we're established, as we're chugging along, having successes, and then we do identify maybe there are hiccups with one bridge over another, or more opportunity on one to craft our own bridge in-house on a particular network. I think those are certainly things that will come up in the governance in proposals, real early on, and I think that would be a great one for you to write too, because that'd be excellent for the protocol, I think, to move in that direction over time. But yeah, my thinking is that just as we start, that there's already quite a bit in tying together the aggregation and the collateralization and so forth.
Guys, so we have 42 people in the audience. If you have some questions, again, feel free. Don't let Whipper ask all the questions. Feel free. Don't be shy. So yeah, we'll give I guess another 5 minutes before we adjourn the call.
I think you have. I think you have some. Oh, there you go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Nimish.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, I applied for school, community of school, but I didn't get any reply, kind of thing.
You fill the form to participate in the community of school? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
yes. I've told it reverse, yes, but that's what.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you, first off. So we mentioned earlier in the call, Nimesh, we've
Yeah,
gotten
I have joined now only like 5-10 minutes back, but yeah.
so a lot of people were reaching out to us independently or filling the form, and we've been flooded. And so right now, we are working on a sort of like internal alignment and transparency, so that we can share a blog post next week on sort of like the different departments that we have, including community. And in that blog post, we will also have like a new form for users to fill, and that we don't miss out on this outreach. But thank you for mentioning that you reached out. We will look into the form and make sure that we speak with you in the coming days to see how we can work together. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say a quick word on this. That form was, I don't know exactly how many entries there were, but there were a lot of people expressed interest in getting involved in a more active way, and that's really cool. And a lot of really deep talent there too. I mean, really impressive stuff coming through on the form. It's incredible. So yeah, it is a flood though. So everyone's trying to kind of make our way through the form and reach out to people. But yeah, I can say for myself, I really haven't even broken into that very, very much at all yet. I've just did a cursory glance of it because I have already quite a heavy load. But I am really looking forward to mining that document for all the incredible talent that's there, because just at a cursory look, it was really, really impressive. So thanks for everyone for expressing your interest in getting involved. And yeah, if we haven't reached out to you yet and you're really enthusiastic, just message us and comment and get involved on the Discord server, and we'll get going.
Guys, I have one last question, if that's okay, if we still have time, if no one else is raising their hand. I'm just wondering, are you guys in control of the XUSD contracts right now, or is it still governed under sovereign's sort of authority? I'm going to use that word, even though it's decentralized. And if you're not, what is sort of the roadmap? When do they sort of hand off that baton to BabelFish so that it's sort of completely under the authority of BabelFish?
Good question. So BabelFish is being really, being worked on by members of the sovereign community, as well as members of the BCW community, and people that don't belong to either, but mostly between those two. And so right now, because we're using the bridges from sovereign for this sort of like proof of concept, the funds right now, sort of like the custody, the keys belong to members of the sovereign team. And the whole ceremony to transfer over those rights will be happening once we have governance live and rolling.
So just more specifically, once the token sale has been finalized, right?
Once the token sale has been finalized, yes.
Cool, perfect. Thanks a lot, Dark Knight.
Super. Hi, Corsario, you have the floor.
But you're muted.
Second. Oh, there you go. Sorry. Hello all. Just a quick shout out to all of the Fish team on having these calls. A quick question regarding lending. What's the outlook on lending? Will it be like in Sovereign, the platform has 30-day term limit on lending. Will this be increased? I'm looking at, say, other platforms like say BCRX, which have no term limits on their lending and at a fixed rate. Do you have an outlook or something in the works like that?
So all of the initial plans, great question. So all of the initial plans that we have on the parameters for stablecoin deposits, but also how we be lending that collateral. It was the idea that most of it would be set up for a vote. So there are no decisions made on that yet. As it is, the very simple alpha product for BabelFish. It's to aggregate stablecoins on Ethereum and Binance and other parent chains wherever there's a lot of liquidity and demand as well, meaning high yield on stablecoin deposits. To aggregate that, create a meta stablecoin, which can then be used in different protocols that are willing to partner with us. In this case, Sovereign, and then have a governance or a DAO in which we would be doing proposal by proposal, spelled out. We want to be lending this percentage out to these specific protocols, and this and basically explaining very transparently and with graphs and proper numbers why it should be done this way or not. That is how we foresaw, and we still foresee BabelFish being run. So as soon as we have the token sale and we have governance, you can expect to see a proper proposal made by a member of BabelFish spelling out nicely what we should do with the collateral.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Hi. I have a question about stablecoins aggregated. What is happening with those at the moment?
What is the what? Sorry, Hyde.
What is happening with aggregated stablecoins at the moment? There's XUSD issued for this, and are they locked in the smart contract, or are they secured by Sovereign at the moment? How does it look?
So right now they're just part of a contract. I believe it's the same contract as the bridge that's being used by Sovereign. Yeah, but it's not being lent out. And yes, and it was asked, as it was asked earlier by Whipper, it's not under BabelFish's control just yet, given that it's very important for Sovereign. It's sort of like the main partner that we have, and so until we have the token sale and we can then start having a governance. So until that happens, nothing is being done with the collateral. We're just a one-to-one stablecoin aggregator that's bridging the liquidity over to Sovereign.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, KBT, you're muted. Yeah, if you want to request to speak again, once you get on the stage, just unmute your mic and we can hear you then.
Hello, guys.
Hey, DeFi Yogi, welcome.
Nice to talk with you. A huge hug from Brazil, and I'm so excited to be part of this project. And I don't know. I think I left the first few minutes, but I really want to know about the airdrop program, about sovereign holders, and what's the project. Yeah, I think I listen about talking about in the next few weeks. You are talking about the bounty rewards, but I really like to know about the airdrop. Thank you so much.
Awesome, DeFi Yogi. Love the enthusiasm. I know we're growing. We have a growing community. Sovereign has a growing community in Brazil. That's amazing. Yeah. So the token sale, as you probably know by now, it's delayed based on community feedback. We want to make sure that BabelFish has sustainable tokenomics, and that that we can prevent as much as possible, exploits, or like being outsmarted by some people. So that's being delayed. The date is still to be announced. We hope that it's going to be, within 6 weeks. It's definitely going to be this quarter. And it's being delayed until we have a sort of like a risk board. The team is having introductory calls with people that have experience, sort of like in finance, or just have been in the space for a long time. People that will evoke trust and will put also like an additional face to this so far very pseudonymous team. And also, hopefully, by the time that we are going to announce the token sale date, also the markets will be a bit stronger. And so, regarding your question about the airdrop, there will be an airdrop, but the airdrop will only be happening as soon as the token sale is complete, and the airdrop will continue being as written in the Sovereign Improvement Proposal number 18. The BabelFish tokenomics has 1% allocated for an airdrop to the sovereign stakers. That's all that we know for now. So if you're a staker, that's great. That is the sort of people that BabelFish governance and DAO will need, people that believe in long-term governance. And so once we know the token sale date, perhaps more detail will come then, but for now it's still the same 1% that was announced. It will be distributed sort of like proportionately or pro rata based on your voting weight as an SOV staker. Hope that answers your question there, and if so, I can also move forward onto the bounties if you have any more questions.
Sorry, Dark Knight. I have a question regarding airdrop, and when the snapshot for the airdrop will be taken, before the sale, like in the meantime, in the next days, weeks, or like that, or maybe shortly, like it was earlier decided. So at the date to calculate the price for the sale.
That's a great question. So. And I'm assuming that's kind of like what your question was as well, DeFi Yogi. So thank you for asking again, Hyde. So the logic of this 1%, as I take it, is that BabelFish wants people that believe in governance, right? BabelFish doesn't want to just reward people that are sort of like, barbarians, to put it that way, or like DeFi degens, even though nothing against degenerates. But we want people that are stakers in long-term governance. And so if you just staked in Sovereign and now you're wondering, oh, maybe I will unstake until I hear when the new date is coming, and then I will stake again. Like, you're not really into it for the governance, and that's fine. We respect that. But I believe that the whole point of this 1% airdrop is that we want to reward people that believe in long-term governance and are not just staking for an airdrop. So if you're staking on Sovereign now, hoping to get an airdrop, again, the token sale will definitely happen this quarter. So I wouldn't be unstaking and being penalized for it and then staking again. I would just leave it staked. The only information that we have for now is that 1% has been allocated for a prorated airdrop. So I would leave it, and if you leave it also longer time, your voting weight, I think, will increase. So yeah, that would be my answer. The only information that we have for now is that it's 1%. No snapshot has been given. I could be wrong about that, and the snapshot could be, as of last week. But yeah, so far there's been no snapshot. I would just continue staking, which is, that would be my recommendation. I know it's not the best answer, but what it says right now, if it says there's no snapshot, then there is no snapshot, and that presents its own set of problems. But that is that's all the information that we have to give right now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, from my perspective, it is good to have people who believe in governance and want to use it, and I would just wait with the snapshot to the time to calculate the price for the sale when we know it.
Thank you, Hyde. And DeFi Yogi, did I answer your questions?
Hey, Yogi, just so you know, you're muted in case you're talking right now.
Yes, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Obrigado.
De nada.
Talk to Flametail about our translators and international ambassadors, Yogi, if you want to represent BabelFish in Brazil.
Some guys were running now. We have about 2 minutes left for the hour. A minute now. So yeah, so far, thank you for all the questions. Thank you for your time. If you have a last minute question, go for it. Else, speak in 2 weeks.
Hi.
Hey, Lightbringer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, coming through loud and clear.
Okay, cool. You mentioned a podcast earlier. I wanted to know how you get access to that because I didn't see it on the website.
Right on, cool. So the Discord server here should have permissions for the BabelFish community member role within the server, which is kind of the general role that you get once you click that emoji on the welcome channel. So hopefully it's down there at the bottom. If you're having trouble seeing it, please let us know. But it's the one that's called Podcasts HHG2D, which is Hitchhiker's Guide to DeFi. So yeah, take a look there. You should be able to see the channel on the Discord server, and then you can comment there and let us know, or just in the general chat or wherever. But it seems best just right there in the if you can access it right in the podcast category and channels. And yeah, I think that's a great thing for us to have. Both forms of communication. This one here is kind of for the general community and everyone, and where we're solving issues. It's a forum, it's a roundtable, it's a source of updates, but then also to have a more long form conversational, focusing on individual guests and specific topics and going more in depth with them is something that we're also interested in doing. So we've been doing that. We have 3 episodes now. They're about 40. We shoot for about 42 minutes in classic Hitchhiker's style, and in classic crypto and blockchain style. There's a lot of enthusiasm, so sometimes we go over. but it's been real fun, and we've had some great guests, and we're looking forward to having more. So yeah, Lightbringer, if you're wanting to, are you wanting to host episodes or come in on and chat with us or just listen to them? What's your thoughts?
I just wanted to listen, honestly. Just wanted to check it out.
Cool.
But thank you for your answer.
Yeah, there's a channel called Episode List on the podcast category. There has like a little emoji of an old CD, and there's I believe all 3 episodes are listed there.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. I hope you enjoy, and would very much like to have everyone involved. So climb on board, guys. Get on the BabelFish ship, and we'll sail together. I think we're gonna probably wrap it now, unless there's any last questions or comments. We're just over an hour, I believe, and so we appreciate all you guys. We're really enjoying getting to know the community a little better, and we've actually really started to have some incredible kind of style taking shape in the art, which is really encouraging to see us coalescing this way. So it's a great time, exciting time with the BabelFish community. Like I mentioned before, really great time to get involved in making art and contributing narrative, and believe as we put on the bounty, surprise us, and we'll surprise you. So we're gonna find ways to reward those contributions that are totally above and beyond. So I know we have some people who are doing incredible things, and they're kind of saying, well, the bounty drop, that's a great reward, but for what I'm doing, it's not the same as if somebody does something that takes quite a bit less time. But we want both. We want the more detailed and immaculate stuff as well. So please know that we will be working hard to reward you. All right, have a good one, guys, and thanks again all so long, and see you next time.